Hey everyone, and welcome back to the All Sorts podcast. We are jumping into a deep dive today that's, it's got glitz and glam, but it also has some tough realities too. We're talking about ṭoma.
Oh, yeah.
He was a sand farmer, and he became like a global star because of a movie.
Yeah.
The gods must be crazy.
I am definitely intrigued.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Hollywood fame, cultural clashes, and the economics, kind of the money side of the entertainment world, which sometimes isn't so pretty.
Right, right. Those are some heavy but very real topics. Looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah. So to really go deep on this one, we've got a whole mix of sources.
Yeah.
We have biographical articles about Nixau's life.
Okay.
We've got, the synopsis of The Gods Must Be Crazy and its sequels.
Right.
And we even found some quotes from Nixau to give you a sense of his personality, on screen and off.
Awesome.
And, one thing that really struck me right off the bat, his story, it doesn't have like that typical Hollywood happy ending. In 2003, Nixau died from tuberculosis.
Wow. Yeah, it makes you think about fame and fortune. That's
Yeah.
not always the path to, a fulfilling life.
Exactly.
That's what makes this deep dive so interesting, right? Like, what actually makes a good life?
Yeah.
What do we truly value?
Exactly.
And how does Nixau's story fit into all that?
I love it. Okay, so let's rewind way back.
Okay.
Before the cameras and everything, Nixau, he was just living a traditional sand life as a farmer in the Kalahari Desert.
Okay.
Our sources say he had barely any contact with the modern world. I mean, think about it. He didn't even know his exact age.
Wow.
Right. It's like suddenly you're in this global spotlight.
Like ripped out of time almost.
Right?
Yeah,
It's wild.
it really is. And of course, you can't talk about Nixau without talking about the film that brought him to the world's attention.
Yeah. The gods must be crazy.
And The Gods Must Be Crazy is such an interesting movie. The plot is built around this seemingly simple thing.
Okay.
A Coke bottle
A Coke bottle.
falls from the sky and totally disrupts the harmony of this sand tribe.
It's almost like a gift from the gods.
Or not, right?
Right. But it messes everything up.
It throws everything into chaos. I think that's part of what makes the movie so brilliant.
Yes.
That Coke bottle, it's like a symbol for all this other stuff.
Right. It's not just a bottle.
You've got consumerism butting in, modern values clashing with traditional values.
Yeah.
And, even the idea that progress, it's not always a good thing. It can have some unintended consequences.
Right. You think, oh, this will be good, but then...
Exactly. And I think that's something we can all relate to, Like, we live in this world where we're just bombarded with new products all the time.
Right.
New ideas, new ways of thinking. Like, what are the Coke bottles, in our own lives?
Yeah. What are the invisible forces that are shaping, what we want, what we value?
Makes you think.
Right.
Now, here's another layer to this.
Okay.
So Nixau's casting, it sort of plays into this classic trope we see in film and in books, too.
Okay, what's that?
The noble savage.
Oh.
Yeah, this idea that indigenous cultures,
Right.
they're somehow purer, more connected to nature, untouched by all the bad stuff in modern society.
Which is a bit of an oversimplification.
Of course it is. But the interesting thing is, the director, Jamie Ives, he specifically wanted Nixau because of his authenticity.
Oh, wow.
He wanted someone who was genuinely living that Sanyog lifestyle.
So that brings up a lot of questions. I mean, was this like genuine representation, or is it, was it exploitation?
Yeah, exactly. And was Nixau in control?
Yeah.
Or was he he used to tell a story that benefited, other people?
That's a good point. And that question of, who's benefiting, it becomes even more obvious when you look at what we're calling the unfair wage.
Yeah.
So the film, huge international success, raked in millions of dollars.
Millions.
But Nixau's initial payment, it was only $300.
$300. Yeah. For a performance that launched, like a global phenomenon, it's easy to just condemn that, right?
Well,
to say it's unjust. But I think there's something deeper going on here.
Okay, what do you mean?
It's about power, cultural differences, and, whose voices actually get heard in this global marketplace.
Right. And there's even this story that goes around that Nixau, he actually let that money, the $300, blow away in the wind because
he didn't understand the concept of money.
He didn't understand its value in, his culture. Now, whether that's completely true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it really highlights the huge gap between his world and the world that was making money, a lot of money, off of his image.
Such a powerful point.
Right. It wasn't just about the money itself.
Yeah.
It was this whole different way of seeing the world.
Right.
And it's important to remember that this isn't just about this one actor.
Right.
It's about the bigger issues that Indigenous people face in the entertainment industry.
It's a systemic problem.
Yes. And we'll get more into that in just a bit. But first, we got to take a quick break.
And it's not just Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
You see this in music, art, fashion.
Yeah.
Anywhere Indigenous cultures are kind of used for profit,
Yeah.
that they're not getting the proper credit.
Yeah, respect.
Right.
Exactly. They're not being compensated fairly, and there's just a lack of respect.
Yeah, it's like taking without giving back.
Exactly.
And with Nćau, his story, it doesn't just end with the gods must be crazy.
Right.
He went on, he starred in the sequel, and he even did some films in Hong Kong.
Wow. Like what?
Like Crazy Safari, Crazy Hong Kong.
Okay.
But even with all that, his career going on, there's this question of, did he really have control?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Was he telling his own story, or was he kind of stuck playing this Bushman character?
Right. Like pigeonholed almost.
Yeah, like he was celebrated for this one thing.
Right.
But it also kind of trapped him in a certain image. And that gets to, we talk about representation.
Yeah.
But it's more than just seeing someone on screen.
Right.
It's about, can they tell their own stories in their own way?
In their own voice.
Exactly.
Right.
Without being squeezed into these stereotypes.
Yeah, like a true, authentic voice.
Exactly.
And eventually, Nćau, he did step back from all of that.
He did.
Yeah, he went back to his roots in Namibia, farming, maize, pumpkins, beans. He had cattle.
So he went back to that traditional life.
He did. Although there is this one interesting thing in one of our sources.
Oh.
It says he couldn't keep track of more than 20 cattle at a time.
He couldn't? What do you mean?
Like, he couldn't count past 20.
Wow.
It's like a completely different way of understanding the world.
Yeah. Like it challenges what we think of as intelligence or success.
Right, exactly. He could track animals, navigate this huge desert, captivate audiences worldwide.
Right.
But, counting past 20.
Just wasn't in his, his world, his way of thinking.
And even later in his life, the money he made from acting, there are these conflicting accounts.
Oh, how so?
Like some sources say he had trouble with, managing money.
Oh, okay.
But others say he became pretty good at negotiating. Like for the sequel, he got a much higher salary.
That's interesting. So it's hard to say for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly what happened.
Right. It really highlights how difficult it is to understand his story through, our Western lens.
Exactly.
Was he taken advantage of, or did he manage to use his fame to get a better deal?
We may never know. And I think that uncertainty, it's part of his story too.
It is. It's a reminder that there can be multiple truths.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't just, put our own interpretation on experiences that are so different from our own.
Exactly. Nćau's story, it's not simple.
No, not at all.
It's triumph and tragedy, exploitation, empowerment.
Cultural clashes and resilience.
And even with all those complexities, his story, it's still important.
Yeah, it is.
It makes people talk about things that matter.
It does. His journey, it makes us think about assumptions, power dynamics.
Yeah.
Working towards a world that's more equitable.
For everyone.
Yeah, on screen, off screen, everywhere.
And listening to those voices that don't always get heard.
Exactly. Those marginalized voices.
We're going to keep digging into this, wrap it all up, but first, we got to hear from our sponsor. Nćau's story, it makes you think. It's not just some, side note in Hollywood history.
No.
It's like it holds up a mirror to us.
Right.
Our biases, our assumptions. It makes you ask, what are WE doing to make sure that stories from different cultures, they're told the right way?
Yeah, with authenticity, respect.
Exactly.
It's a challenge to all of us, really. I mean, we watch movies, we listen to music.
Right.
We have to be critical, ask questions, demand better.
Yeah. Demand better representation. And it's not just about seeing those stories on screen.
Right.
It's about, is everyone being paid fairly?
Absolutely.
Are they sharing in the success?
Like, is everyone benefiting?
Yeah.
Not just a select few.
Right. Nćau's story, it reminds us that success, it's not just about, one person getting rich.
No.
It's about everyone doing well.
Yeah, collective well-being. Creating a system where everyone has a chance
to thrive.
Yeah, no matter where they come from, what their background is.
One thing I love about The Gods Must Be Crazy is it's funny.
Yeah.
It's a really funny movie.
It is. And Nćau, he's so great in it.
Yeah. He's got this great comedic timing.
But it doesn't shy away from those deeper issues.
No,
The
no.
cultural clash, the economic stuff.
Right. You're laughing, but then you're also like,
Yeah, you're thinking.
it makes you think.
Yeah, it's really well done. So what do you think? What can we learn from Nагд'au's journey? I mean, what does it tell us about fame, about different cultures interacting, about, searching for meaning in a world that can feel really, really unbalanced? It's a good question. I think it reminds us that fame, it comes and goes. Money doesn't equal happiness.
Yeah.
And that sometimes the things that matter most, they're simpler.
Right.
Connection, community, respect for nature.
Living in a way that, that matches your values.
Exactly.
It makes you really reevaluate things.
It does.
Yeah.
And it encourages us to question the systems that create inequality.
To fight for a better world.
For everyone.
So if you haven't seen The Gods Must Be Crazy.
Oh, you got to check it out.
You really do. You'll see Nćau's performance.
And it'll really make you think.
It's a film that, it sticks with you.
It does. It makes you ask questions.
It makes you think.
Maybe even do something, make a change.
Yeah. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I hope this is just the beginning of the conversation.
I hope so too.
Think about it. Share your thoughts. Ask questions. Let's all try to create a world where stories like Nćau's are not just, told, but actually heard.
And understood.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Remember, keep exploring, keep learning.
Keep your minds curious, your hearts open.
Keep those conversations going.
And before we go, just a reminder that the All Sorts podcast, it wouldn't be possible without all of you.
We love our listeners. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please like, share, subscribe to our channel on YouTube.
And follow us on X, Instagram, and Threads. Every little bit helps us grow.
Reach more people. Keep these important conversations going. So join the All Sorts community.
Let's keep exploring the world, one amazing story at a time.
Thanks for listening.